Manchester United have finally agreed a deal for RB Leipzig striker Sesko, and that's for 73.7 million euros. Now, the agreement includes a guaranteed payment of about 76.5 million euros and the remaining in add-ons. The big question is, what does this mean for Manchester United's attacking lineup? The player is 6'5" tall, and it's all about the physical presence as well as aerial threats for Manchester United going forward. Is it the solution to the challenges Manchester United have offensively? Big questions that will be asked when the season commences. Welcome, folks. I'm Samson Olede. Coming up on the program this evening, Super Falcons head coach Justin Madugu among nominees for Ballon d'Or Coach of the Year award. Super Eagles intensify preparations ahead of crucial match against Sudan at ongoing African Nations Championship. And in the sport of tennis, four-time Grand Slam champion Naomi Osaka to face teenager Victoria Mboko in the Montreal Open final. These are much more make up the show this evening.
TVC Sports Desk.
Thanks for staying with us tuned. Now let's begin with the world of football, and it's all about the African Nations Championship ongoing in East Africa. We had matches yesterday, talking about Group B matches, and the results are in. Burkina Faso defeated Central African Republic by 4-2. I had Tanzania defeating Mauritania by a lone goal. And what that means is that for Burkina Faso, they're right there in the running in terms of getting through to the next round. Now, for Tanzania, it means that they also have 6 points from 2 games. Talking about the table now from the group of Group B, from what we saw yesterday, Tanzania right there with 6 points from 2 games, and Burkina Faso, as a result of that 4-2 win over Central African Republic, also have 3 points from 2 games. It's still all to play for in Group B, but Tanzania, one of the co-hosts, will definitely fancy their chances of going through to the knockout phase. In third spot is Madagascar in there. They've played just a game and they have a point in there. You have Mauritania as well as Central African Republic. From all indications, Central African Republic will be the whooping boys of the team or of the group now. But Tanzania, the co-host, definitely on good grounds to make it through. You have Burkina Faso as well, following that 4-goal haul. They should also stand a very good chance of going through when it comes to Group B of the African Nations Championship. Now let's move away from there and talk about Group A, which will be about the matches we have today. For Group A, there will be fixtures to expect. DR Congo will be taking on Zambia, and that's one you should watch out for. Angola as well against Kenya is another match in that group. For DR Congo against Zambia, that's probably the litmus test for the Congolese. Angola against Kenya, you want to fancy the Angolans to make it through in terms of that group itself. But let's look at what the table looks like ahead of today's fixtures in Group A. For Group A, you know quite well that DR Congo is still in the mix right there. We have Morocco in there with 3 points from a game. Everyone in the group has played just a game yet. Kenya as well, 3 points from a game. Zambia, DR Congo, yet to register points in there. So it's all to play for, and both sides will be meeting each other. Angola, yet another side that needs a massive 3 points to be able to change the table looks like ahead of the tournament itself. But it's all to play for when it comes to Group A right now. The Moroccans will fancy their chances of making it 2 wins out of 2. But for DR Congo, Zambia, and Angola, they need to register points in terms of getting, through to the knockout phases. It's been unpredictable, to say the very least, what we've seen thus far in the African Nations Championship. So we'll be hoping to see that, they really make a move, really, for these teams making moves into the various knockout stages. Okay, let's move away from that now, but still talking about the African Nations Championship. Let's talk about that which concerns Nigerians, and it's all about the Super Eagles. They didn't start on a very good note. Talking about that slow start, you want to call it, which was that 1-0 loss to Senegal. But the players are now raring to go in terms of getting back to winning ways. We have the team preparing for the crucial clash against Sudan at the ongoing African Nations Championship. You want to call that a make or mar match for the Super Eagles, and they have what it takes to really make it count right there. Coach Eric Chell has been putting the players through the recovery phases as well as the tactical and physical drills ahead of the match against Sudan. The match will be taking place on Tuesday, and it's all to play for. We hear that as much as the players are disappointed, they are now ready to really correct the mistakes made in the first game to ensure that they register their first win in the competition. Now let's go to the camp of the Super Eagles right there in Zanzibar and talk to a player who is definitely one whose shoulders, just like the rest of the team, rests the expectations of Nigerians. And he is a left back, a defender. Harrison Ozondu joins us on the show this evening. Harrison, good evening. Thank you so much for joining us. Okay, let's start from, the match against Senegal. That was a slow start. I'm sure it's a disappointing loss that, really affected the team. But talk to us, what's the mood like in camp now that the game is over and the sights are set against Sudan? Kindly unmute. Your device is muted at this point in time, so we can't hear you. Kindly unmute so we can get your perspectives about what the mood is like in camp and how the team is preparing to face the Sudanese. Harrison. Okay, we'll try to reestablish connections as quickly as we can with Harrison Ozondu, a defender with the Super Eagles, or the Chan Eagles, you want to call them. And it's all about the preparations for the big one. It is a match that they must win to ensure that they make it through to the next, or boost their chances now of making it through to the next round of matches. Well, let's move away from there now and talk about the big one that broke forth about 40 minutes ago. And this has to do with the Ballon d'Or nominations that has now been released. And we know quite well that the Ballon d'Or, just like the FIFA The Best, is one of the most prestigious awards when it comes to world football. And everyone is really looking forward to that. So we'll be talking about that in a bit. Let's quickly circle back to Harrison Ozondu, the Super Eagles champion defender who is with us on the show. Harrison, good evening. Thanks so much for joining us on the show.
Okay, good evening. Like I said earlier, the mood in camp, everybody had a sad face, had a bad feeling because we came out with everything we can against Senegal and getting to the field of play, we couldn't get the job done, which is getting a good result back home. And I would say the players are down, and today, the way we picked up ourselves, it shows we're really ready to bounce back in a very good way.
Okay, we know quite well that Coach Eric Charles has, addressed the mistakes from the first match, which certainly was a slow start to the competition. What are the training sessions? What are those areas you think the team needs to improve on ahead of the big one against Sudan?
I would say we worked more on attacking. We worked more on attacking and making sure we keep the ball, not losing the ball easily to the opponent. And we'll also maybe specific training for the finishing. For now, that's it.
Okay. Aside that, what are you looking forward to in terms of the Sudanese challenge against Senegal? It looked like they were more physical and they had more of the stamina to see through the 90+ minutes. Against Sudan, you would expect something similar in terms of that physical strength and from the opposition. What are those areas you think the Sudanese will try to come at you guys, and how do you think you can counter that to ensure that you emerge victorious at the end of the day?
For now, I would say we only picked points on ourselves, and we worked more on our lapses against the last game. So we need to rectify ourselves then before we move on to Sudan.
Okay, talk to us now about the expectations. Again, Nigerians are, people who are insatiable just like everyone else. We expect the very best from our national teams, and the pressure is on right now on the team to deliver when it comes to the match against Sudan. A win will boost the team's confidence and also ensure that they stand a chance to make it through to the next round. So what are the assurances you are giving Nigeria ahead of the big one against Sudan?
Yeah, I would say as we worked on our lapses, and we've seen the errors which made us got such results in the last game. We know coming out will be 100%, which will definitely come out with something good, and which is the 3 points.
Okay. Just before I let you go, I need to ask this because we saw clips of, Annie, the goalkeeper, Ozemena. We also had, your fellow left back in there, Abdurrafiu, who were training outside of the group. Is this some sort of injury concern or just a precautionary measure by the technical crew?
It's an injury concern, but it's not something serious. And because the left back he played the last game and they needed him to take a long rest, an active long rest. And as for the keeper, Ali, he's just recovering from a casual knock too.
Okay, we can only wish both players the very best in terms of recovery, and hopefully they are fit enough to face the Sudanese side come next Tuesday. Harrison Ozondu, defender for the Chan Eagles, thank you so much for your time on the show this evening.
Thank you very much.